Hello, hello, hello. Oh, puppy has gotten, she's directly in front of the camera. Oh my goodness, she's right there. Large and in charge. Hello, Bandita. Look at you, sweetie. Hi. Hello. Oh, am I live? Okay, good. Okay, alrighty. We are here. It is Friday. Welcome, everybody, or good morning, I suppose. I don't know where in the world it's morning. Probably Australia, if I had to guess. Hope you all are doing well. Just watched a channel on YouTube that I've subscribed to for a long time get shit-faced and say we should forgive Trump and just roll with it. That is a wild sequence of events there. That would not be me. I would not do that. I don't think I'd ever get shit-faced on YouTube. A little tipsy for a little fun event, sure, but wow, sounds like a bad idea, not gonna lie. Alrighty, let me get the chat synced here. Ooh, you saw Nosferatu yesterday. I have not seen it yet. I'm gonna see it next weekend. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting closer on where I want to be with the curls. We're not all the way there yet, but we are getting closer, and that's what counts. All right, putting the chat in here. All righty. There we go. Thank you. Glad you like the hair. This is actually day 2 hair. I was practicing it earlier. It's getting close. It's not quite all the way to where I want it to be yet. I want the curl to start up a little higher in my head, but it's getting there. I'm finding the way. So before I get too far into it and we talk about my hair or the movies or what have you, let's do a little intro. So, hi, hello, my name's Evie, and every week on Fridays here on my YouTube channel, we do an interactive Q&A about all the things related to kink, BDSM, dating apps, relationships, polyamory, queer stuff, so on and so forth. This is an 18 plus only chat because of the topics that we discuss, so if you are not at least 18, please do not be here. That is for your safety, my safety, everyone's safety, and if you can read the rules down below, that would be very helpful. They're very simple. Basically, don't spam the chat. Listen to me, listen to the mods, and I don't give advice about mental or physical health because I'm not a doctor and I can't help you with that. And there's also links to commonly asked questions and an FAQ down below. So if you want to know about things like where to buy a flogger, what books I recommend, movies, things like that, that's all going to be in the description box. And I am so excited because that was weird. Maybe that was just my neighbors moving something. You guys probably couldn't see it on camera, but the floor below me just shook a little bit. I was like, oh, fires in California, earthquakes in Portland. That would just be the way of things, wouldn't it? That would just be the way of things. But hopefully not. Yeah, I'm all the way zoomed out. Well, actually, no, I could be a little bit more zoomed out. Yeah, she decided, she's like, it's funny to me that she doesn't even think about the camera being there, literally at all. She's just like, I'm going to sit here, because that's kind of her normal spot, which is why I put it there. But yeah, she's very, very zoomed in potato today. Yes, so movies, what is happening with them? Why are they making movies that are exactly my thing? Because I have a theory, having not seen the movie, and please, I don't normally care about spoilers, but don't spoil Nosferatu for me. If you want to tell me what you thought about it, that's fine, but don't spoil everything that happens in it. I have a theory that there's movies that are kinky, that are explicitly kinky, like Baby Girl, which I will be reviewing for the YouTube channel as soon as I have access to a digital version of it, which hopefully should be soon. From what I could tell, doing internet searches, people are predicting it'll be digitally available before the end of January, so it'll probably be a Valentine's Day review. So, that is that. Baby Girl, right? Nosferatu. I'm gonna say, sight unseen, reading the fucking script for that movie, also gonna be kinky, but in a very different way. Third movie that's coming out, Companion, seems to be about a a sex bot that gains sentience and kills people. I feel like that also could be a kink thing. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think it's going to be explicitly kinky, but there's something about that seems like the kind of premise that people would definitely develop a kink for, like, after having watched the movie. So I don't know what's happening, but for some reason, movie theaters are just, like, really making the kinds of movies that I am into watching. Because for a long time, like, I hardly ever watch movies. I don't ever really go to the movie theater. And it's about, like, once every 2 years that a movie is interesting enough for me to, like, maybe want to go see it in a movie theater. But now we're just having all this stuff, like, back to back. And I won't see Companion in theaters. I'll probably wait for that one to come out digitally. And then Baby Girl, it's already been out for a while, so I'm probably not going to see that in theaters either. I'm also just going to wait for that digitally, but it's, like, crazy that we're actually, like, making movies that seem interesting. Spoilers for Nosferatu. The film was been out for 102 years. Well, I don't know if they changed anything in this version of the movie, right? Like, every reinterpretation is a reinterpretation. There could be something that's really big that's like, ooh, he changed this and it makes the whole movie totally different. Like, I don't know. Just covering my bases in case, you know. I appreciate Nosferatu, but always hated other OG look, just can't stand it. Yeah, it's, well, you know, I've heard people make comparisons to, what's the Sonic character? Dr. Robotnik. I've seen that. I think that's who it is. I never played Sonic. I never did anything with any Sonic media other than what I was non-consensually exposed to on DeviantArt as a child. So I think that's who it is. Or the egg guy? I don't know. The one with the mustache, I think, was most recently played by Jim Carrey. Weird, now that I've thought that that's a thing. There's got to be some version of Hypno that's like bodification or something. Well, there is like a robot kink, and it has, was it ASFR or something? It has like a very specific name for it, but there is like a transformation kink that is based around like robot stuff, essentially. Yes, it's very much a thing. Yeah. Which we can all thank, I think in my generation, Jenny the Teenage Robot. Who remembers Jenny the Teenage Robot, okay? How many people after that developed a robot kink? It's a non-zero amount. Never, never zero. There's a sort of nexus of that in 1950s household kink in the form of Stepford wife and fembot. Yeah, that's I was thinking of that too. Yeah, because there's the Stepford wife stuff and the fembot stuff. Yes, it's, I guess, sort of in the Austin Powers way, and then in a more like not comedic way. Yes, ASFR. Yes, I was like AM. Like I was close. I either remembered it or I got very close. That's not one of my kinks, so it's not really front of mind for me. Yeah, Geiger. Isn't that stepfordization? Why does that sound like making your assembly line more efficient? I don't know if that's a term. I don't know if that's like a real thing. I'll take your word for it if that's a very specific kink that's like, I want to be like, like a character in the Stepford Wives. Like, sure, that's probably a thing. Yes, my life as a teenage robot. Yes. Okay, people remember. It was, the theme song was pop punk, wasn't it? I didn't even think of that with that part. I have a very vague memory of the intro music and like a couple of episodes. And I feel like I remember something about like she wanted to change the screw on like her belly button screw, and her like mom was upset about that. And it was about like getting belly button piercings. And it was very, very interesting show. I feel like they brought it back recently, which is weird, but they did. A lot of people complained about Count Orlok having a mustache in this version, but I like it. It's accurate to the time period. I know that's like, I love it when there's time period stuff in films. I just like, I feel like we went through an era where we had, it wasn't Jane Eyre. It was one of the Jane Austen novels. There's like been some more recent Austen adaptations that have been very much not historically accurate in terms of hair design, which is a big thing that people overlook. Hair design, and then also in costume design. And that like totally ruins it for me. Like, yes, like to us in our modern era, like completely no hair except for a mustache maybe is not everyone's thing. But like, first of all, a lot of women love a bald man. All right, that hasn't changed. That's a timeless look. Also, a lot of women love a mustache, okay? Sue them. They like mustaches. That's fine. And also, It's not meant to just appeal to our sensibilities of modern fashion, right? Like when you're watching Bridgerton and you're looking at the fashion in Bridgerton, like a lot of people find that era of like Regency clothing to like not be particularly aesthetic appealing because it's typically like very straight silhouettes. It has a high bust line. Like it's not something that like we would typically consider to be sexy. Like same thing that people don't really consider like flappers to be sexy either. Like it's again kind of pencil silhouette, not emphasizing the curvature necessarily or doing so in a different way than like maybe what we would consider to be hot now, and that's okay. I'm here to be immersed in the film, and if I know something is set in like I think it's like 1830s Germany, but people are dressing like it's 1920s or like 1890s or 1750s, like it's gonna mess with my brain, and I'm not gonna be immersed in the film, and I'm gonna be like, why are they wearing that like fabric? Why is their hair look like they did it with a fucking Dyson Airwrap? Like if I'm watching a movie and it's supposed to be set in the mid 1900s. And it looks like the person had their hair styled with an electric hot tool, I'm going to be upset. But, yeah. There was Kitsune Anima in The Love and Death and Robots. Oh, like the Netflix show? I don't think I've watched that, but I think I know what you're talking about. That was kink-related, roboticizing. Oh. Are we watching Baby Girl on stream? If I can find it digitally, yes. We will watch Baby Girl on stream on Patreon. I just strongly dislike the dresses in Bridgerton, which is fine. You're allowed to not like them. However, they are largely period accurate with a lot of, like, the silhouettes are, like, largely period accurate, but with a lot of liberties taken with the overall design, which I think works with the premise of the show. It's not meant to be, like, super historically accurate. It's a fucking, like, romance drama. That's fine. But what I really like about David Eggers is the fact that he is so, like, fucking fixated. That man, he's a man on a mission when it comes to historical accuracy, and I don't know any other directors that are that monomaniacal about historical accuracy on every level, from like the speech, the like even not even so much of a speech, like he won't, like, from my understanding in Nosferatu there's no like German accents anywhere, even though it's set in technically Germany. Like everyone's speaking in a British accent, but they still use like terms that, like, to an American or English speaker watching it, you're like, oh yeah, this is like, I'm getting the German vibes enough. But like the religion, all the sets are practically built as well, which is crazy. All the sets are practically built, like, just from a technical competence standpoint. I mean, you have to love it. And I have high hopes. All right, this year I put in my bingo card for 2025. I think that The Substance is going to win an Oscar. I don't know if Nosferatu will win an Oscar because I don't think it's that much of a darling amongst the cinema fans, but it could possibly win some design awards, I think. I think it could win, because I think he won some awards for what was the other film? The Norseman, whatever it is. So it's possible. It could happen. Horror is back. We are back with the horror. We are back with the erotic thrillers. We are back with the thrillers in general, and I am here for it. I am living and I am loving. Love Unleashes is a really good movie. I do like that one. Love Unleashes is a good one. Yes, and corsets and stays were never worn against brisket. Oh yeah, that's one of my like eternal like pet peeves is like foundation garments in films, and they're the fact that we are allergic to portraying them in any way that's accurate. Like for some reason we all love like 1950s, 1960s like dressing robes and nightgowns, but then when it comes to like anything previous to like the mid 20th century, we're like, oh yeah, women just wore, because I think honestly, I wonder if part of it is that people don't realize that stay with me, people don't realize that people in the pre-20th century were also horny. And they look at photos that were taken on early cameras and go, oh, this is an accurate depiction of women getting dressed and putting on their clothes. And it's like, no, that's a horny man took that photo. That is a horny man who took a photo of a woman in just a corset. Like, it's not accurate. Just a woman in a corset, or maybe some other like bare bones foundation garments, like without having anything between the skin and the corset. It's because people in the 19th century also had fetishes for things like corsets, and that's how. Do you think sexuality was invented like 50 years ago? Like, that's what always throws me for a loop, is people just don't realize that, like, your great-great-grandparents, they were also horny. Did you know that? Yeah. Nosferatu is beloved in the film circuit right now. Okay, is it? I thought I saw that it didn't have, like, great reviews. I have not discussed Baby Girl yet in detail because I haven't gotten to watch it yet. But I will be watching it, and if I can find it digitally, I'll be watching it on Patreon, and then I'll be making a second, more like refined reaction video to watching the movie. So you can see my raw, live, unedited thoughts, and then you can see my more refined version for the general public. Given movie reviews in this day and age, a little dicey, not always a guarantee that they're going to get past the YouTube censors and the absolutely bananas copyright system that gets more decrepit by the day. Not unlike Nosferatu, I suppose. But I will try. And if I can't post it on YouTube, the full, like, more polished review will be up on Patreon. So come hell or high water, there will be a review of the movie. We get these so rarely, I have to take advantage of it, you know? Psycho Salad says, I have a question, but it's super long-winded. No worries. If you want to type it out in the chat, you can just like put one in like parentheses at the end and then tell me when you're done. So like, don't worry about it being too long. If it's longer than like 4 or 5 messages, that might be too long. But if it's like 4 or 5 or less, 4 or 5 or fewer, excuse me, then I can handle it. Don't worry about it. I have read 3 and 4 part questions before a time or two on this channel. I saw it. I'll keep my opinion to myself, lol. My understanding is, from what I have seen of it, people, like, I saw on my Instagram feed today, sex educator wrote a think piece about it, and my understanding is it's intentionally not supposed to be a movie about DS going right. It's about it going wrong. So, which I was prepared for, because like the premise of the film, CEO lady gets in with an intern, has an illicit love affair while literally having an affair like she's married. Like, that was never going to work out. In the trailer for the movie, they show a clip, I think, from what I assume is a BoJack Horseman-esque news interview where she's like, oh, I thought women CEOs were different or something. So clearly, like, they're hinting even in the trailer of, like, something happens, they maybe get caught, it comes out in some way, potentially ruins her career. So, like, first of all, never go into any BDSM movie expecting that it's going to be accurate in any way. Some of them are more accurate than others, but none of them really show an accurate BDSM relationship. The closest one is Love and Leashes. And it's cute and it's adorable, and you should watch it if you haven't, because it's just everything to me. There's a great puppy play scene in it. But even that is not necessarily perfect, especially because it doesn't really show a big component of a lot of people's DS relationships, which is the sexual component. It's much more focused on the day-to-day and more romantic and platonic components. And maybe if we saw a part 2, that more sexual element would come into things more, but that's just not, the movie isn't about that. So it's not necessarily appealing to the same audience as like a 50 Shades of Grey movie might. Also, Pupperino, you are like as close as could be. She's like, I may regret doing this. I am going to try to gently move the camera here. I think I did it. I think I did it successfully. I had to pull it back like a fishing line. I like how she's like refusing to actually face the camera. She's like, listen, lady, I got grooming business going on here, and that's me time. Vendita has me time going on. Anyways, those are my movie thoughts right now. I'm excited about what's happening in theaters. I'm excited about movies. And I look forward to more. Okay, so this is Psycho Salad's question. Okay. It sounds like you got question marks. So I'll look and see if you got more later, but I'm going to read what you got right now. I want to go to my first kink event in February, but I'm uncomfortable sharing this with my parents. My safety is not at risk, but they'll connect the dots as to why I'm into kink. Okay. I'm not ready for that conversation. Any way I can keep this secret while not completely hiding from them, maybe a cover story so they have my general location if things go south. I think that like a cover story makes sense if you can swing that. It definitely depends on where the event is located. So, for example, if the event is at a downtown location and it's maybe next to a bunch of popular bars or restaurants, you could say that you're meeting up with people for like a pub trivia night, or going out to a bar or going out to a restaurant or something that's like a couple doors over from where the actual kink club is, so they know your approximate location, but they don't necessarily know the details of what's going on. If the location is in the middle of a warehouse in the industrial side of town and there's nothing around near it at all, having a more convincing cover story that's like right close by is going to be a lot more difficult, but I think it is possible. And it also depends on if you're living with your parents or not. Because if you don't live with your parents, then like they're not tracking, I'm assuming they're not tracking your movements coming and going, because it's going to be a lot easier then if they're not tracking your movements to just do what you want to do. But if they're tracking your location or they're monitoring your comings and goings because you live with them and they just know when you're out and when you're coming back in, that's going to be a lot harder to cover up. But I get wanting, I've never been someone where I've needed the validation of my parents to feel comfortable in kink, because I was already basically out of the house by the time I started in the community. I had been at college for a couple of years, so I was used to being independent from my family at that point in time. But if I was in a position where I felt like I wanted to not totally hide everything from my parents and let them know that I'm just doing something, I would enlist a friend, to sort of like the classic like sneaking out in high school maneuver of like enlisting a friend to like be your cover story of like, oh, I'm sleeping over at so-and-so's house. But instead of doing a sleepover, it's like, oh, I'm meeting up with so-and-so for dinner, or I'm going to try going to a karaoke night, or I got invited to a trivia night, or I'm going to try, a D&D game at the local card shop. Like anything that gets you out of the house regularly that could be a hobby, that maybe there's a place where that could be happening, that maybe even before you go to the event, maybe you go to the place, maybe you get a non-alcoholic drink, or you get a snack, or you get a dinner or something before the event. You snap a photo at the dinner place, at the bar, to be like, hey, having a good time, and then you send that off like an hour or two into the actual party you're at. And then they just think that you're at the party. I don't know if that would necessarily work fully, but that would probably be the way that I would go about it. I do live with my parents, and it's a bar in the middle of the city. Okay, so that makes it a lot easier. They don't monitor my location. I don't exactly have any friends to help cover this up. Oh, if you don't have people with you, that can be harder. I guess you could just say, like, you want to get out there and try and meet people, and you're fed up with dating apps, so you're going to try, like, what the bar scene is like, and then you can just do that, and then just pop by the bar, get a non-alcoholic drink, get like a Shirley Temple or something, or get some kind of beverage and be like, and snap a photo. And that's like what you normally do. If you never send photos to your family of what you're doing, don't start now, because that's going to seem weird. But assuming that you at least sometimes send photos when you're out, snap a picture. If you're on an Android phone, especially, I don't know if you can do this with like regular like SMS, but with like Telegram and Signal and stuff, you could do this. If you're on an Android phone, you can schedule a message to go out later than when you compose the message. So you can go to a place, snap a photo, attach the photo to a message, do a quick little line, and then before you go into the party, schedule it to send like an hour and a half into when you're actually going to be there. And then like check in with them and be like, oh, I had a great time. And then like, you can talk about like the people that you met at the parties, though you met them at a bar, right? You can talk about like, oh, I met, this person and their name. You can give them a fake name if they give you a name that doesn't sound like a real person name, right? You can say, oh, I met Susie, and, she's lived in the city for this number of years. We have these hobbies in common, whatever. And then your parents think that you're just meeting friends. The end, hopefully. Thank you, Blushing Giant. Blushing Giant has gifted 10 memberships. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. The bar scene excuse would work, especially since I'm a non-drinker. And going solo in this, yes, yeah. I mean, like, I don't know, it depends on where you live. Like, there's definitely, you go like a kava bar, you go to a tea place, you go karaoke. There's especially these days, because drinking alcohol is way less popular than it's ever been, and because a lot of people don't, like, bars usually have to have a very strong theme to them to get people in the door, it seems like these days. I don't know, maybe that's an incorrect assessment on my part, but it seems like, you know, bars aren't just bars anymore. They gotta have, like, you know, speakeasy jazz vibe. They gotta have, you know, goth vibe, whatever. So if you're not doing that, there's plenty of other nightlife options that are like late night spots you could hang out in. Like, I even know of, like, what was I just looking at the other day that I was like shocked it was open so late? It was like a bookstore or something. Like, there are sometimes, depending on where you live, there could be like, you know, bookstores, coffee shops, card shops, all kinds of things that are open until like 10, 11 p.m. at night, even on like a Friday night. So, like, you know, it might take some legwork to really plan this out, but ultimately, at the end of the day, if your worry is that it would just be awkward to talk to your family about being in the kink community versus it being potentially dangerous for them to find out that you're in the kink community, like they might kick you out or something like that, like, that's a different level of risk that you might want to assess taking. Because if you're afraid of just, oh, it might be an awkward conversation, you don't have to have like the perfect plan to totally cover your tracks. But if you're an adult, and you should be, if you're asking this question, you want to go to the kink community, if you are an adult, at some point, they should understand that as an adult, whether it be in the kink community or maybe you're just meeting up with a lady and you go, or a man or whatever, and you want to go spend the night at their place sometime, like, you know, parents hopefully can mentally filter out the fact that that might mean sex is happening, because, you know, that's how they made you, most likely. So, like, you know, they should be able to do the parent thing of just sort of ignoring that their child has adult proclivities now, and if they make it a big deal, it's really on them, it's not really on you. I think it's okay to want to protect your parents from that, but if they do find out, it's on them as adults to be able to cope with the fact that their, you know, child is grown up and maybe has different interests than they would. A coordinator. Oh, I missed something, I think. A coordinator. Someone organized the event. Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the event organizers. Yes, whoever is coordinating it. Mm-hmm. Weimar is a great time period. I've been indoctrinated into that we shouldn't imagine Weimar. What am I thinking of? That's wrong. I know I'm saying it wrong. Weimar? I feel like Weimar is wrong. Is that right? Is that, I don't know what's closest to the actual, like, German terminology, but I think I mostly actually hear is Weimar. Is a prelude to Nazi Germany, historiographic camp, and so I find it easier to ignore what happened next. Fair enough, yeah. Yes, Love and Leashes was the movie I mentioned. Love and Leashes. Mm-hmm. Bars are also crazy more expensive than they've ever been before. Yeah, like if I go out to dinner, and which like never happens, but let's say like the biannual going out to dinner event that I have, like it's like I look at a drink menu and it's like $14 a drink, and it's like, why? Like, it has to be a special occasion. It has to be like there's something special about it, like how special my dog is with her precious little, look at her, look at this. This is insane. This should be illegal. Look at her. She's all snuggled up in her little bed, and her little face is squished against the couch. God couldn't paint this. There's nothing more adorable on earth. Weimar. Okay. Yeah. I knew the W's is V thing. I knew that part. Yeah. Okay. I haven't said that word out loud before. I had to like practice it a couple times. Hopefully that's okay. Will you review pony play gear? Probably not. Probably not. I don't really do puppy play or pony play. I do puppy play, not pony play. So I don't have a reason to review it, I guess. I don't know how. I feel like it's like, what would I say about it, you know? Not my thing. All right, let's get back to some questiones here. As a reminder, I go in the order that questions come in. So if you would be so kind as to leave your questions and not spam the chat, because if you repeatedly ask the same question over and over and over again, I am not really any more likely to see it if you ask it 10 times versus the first time, unless we're at the end of the stream. And if you want to make sure to answer your question right away, you can use a super chat, as we saw earlier, and that'll highlight it, and then I will read your question right away, and you will jump to the front of the line. Oh, good news and bad news. So the bad news is I was diagnosed with asthma induced by long COVID. Oh no! The good news is my husband and I are having fun with it. Okay, silver linings. Or maybe bronze lining. I still have cold symptoms exacerbating it, but in order to minimize my wheezing, he has banned me from speaking in the house. Ah, DS Dynamics, to the rescue. I can still communicate via text or Wile E. Coyote-esque paper signs. That is delightful. I'm happy for you, Lexi, and your ability to make lemonade out of lemons there. That is fantastic. I'm sorry about the asthma issue. I hope that clears up for you. I will say, so I actually have an air filter that I bought. It's right here. It's the Coway air filter, and I bought it because it was really on sale for New Year's Eve and Christmas, so I got like a great discount on it. And two, because I am anticipating there being some bizarre tariff things happening that will probably make this way more expensive. So I was like, it's a couple $100, but I know I'm going to need it because, like, with the fires and with seasonal allergies just like kicking my ass every year, I'm like, okay, I don't want to be out of commission because of fucking pollen. So let's get this taken care of. So I bought this, and it's very highly rated. It's very good. I'd recommend it. Depending on your space, I got one that was just like, it was a bigger size than I definitely need, but like it was cheaper than the smaller model, so I bought it. But I would be looking into getting one of these for your personal space. I think that they're pretty good for asthma, depending on what your asthma triggers are, but also just having one is good in general. I don't imagine where you live you have as many like seasonal fires, but it's very good for pet allergens and like just capturing allergens in general if that's an issue you have. So that might be helpful. But yeah, I'm sorry about the asthma, but I'm glad you they told you that it was a thing you were experiencing, because I feel like these days everything I hear about going to doctors is like, doctors ignored like what my problems were, and then I found out that it was cancer, and it's like, oh my god, should have just listened the first time. My favorite kind of pollen. I was tempted to buy a new laptop because of tariffs, but I'm not sure it's worth it. I mean, hard to say. Depends on what your current laptop scenario is. Like, if I needed a computer upgrade, I would definitely do it now. If I needed to upgrade, if I had to do like some major tech upgrade, like if I needed new computer parts, new camera parts, anything that's like really expensive, like it's probably not going to get cheaper. So if you have the money and you find a good deal on it, I'd probably get it now, to be honest. But hard to say for sure. I mean, who knows how things will end up going. Everything could end up, maybe something crazy will happen with the economy and like everything will be really cheap all of a sudden, but that's not the direction we've generally gone. So I'm not going to make predictions based off of that, I recently bought the parts for and built my own PC, and the parts have already gone up 25% since I bought them 2 months ago. That's wild. I mean, I'm assuming part of it is companies are anticipating more expensive inputs in the future, so they're already making things more expensive. But yeah, I don't even know. Like if I went back, because when I built my computer, God, probably like 2-3 years ago now, and even then it seemed like it was really pricey. But I know if I look up basically everything except for the video card, I'm sure it's more expensive. And the video card is only less expensive because I think there's been at least 1 or 2 like new iterations of it, so it probably is not quite as spendy as it was at the time I got it. Because I got it around the time that like there were lotteries to get video cards because everyone was mining Bitcoin. So yeah, it wasn't the best situation. It's all good. Just fun to take bad things and reframe them in a kink way. Exactly. It's just fun to have fun. You have to know how. And I think that's a really good attitude to take, because I think something like that could really, really sour the mood. But you're feeling a positive place, then it makes it more possible to just have fun. All right, I am trying to figure out my lighting situation right now. I don't know. I feel like, okay, maybe that's better. It's actually white balancing now. Before, when I was trying this before, I just blew out my face and I looked like a ghost. I mean, worse than I normally do. Hopefully this is better. I don't know. Okay. Anyways. That was the How to Drink live stream that's just finishing up. Oh, was that the, I feel like I've seen, is that the YouTube video series where a bunch of different bartenders make different drinks? It's they have 8 or 10 bartenders each make a Manhattan or something. Is that what it is? Or am I thinking of something totally different? My car insurance went up 28% in 6 months, so no reason, just, lags with inflation. Yeah, my pet insurance. Okay, this is my, John Oliver needs to do a segment about this, okay? I will keep having pet insurance for my dog because she's my precious, beautiful angel, and I love her, and I would do anything for her, and because if I ever switched pet insurance, it would be a huge nightmare, and it would definitely be worse, and I would in no way ever actually save any money on it. But when I first got pet insurance for her, it was under $50 a month. I want to say it was $48 a month. And now, 3 years later, or maybe 4 years later, it is $228 a month for pet insurance. For insurance for my dog that I definitely need because as of March 1st, she's going to be 13 years old, so she definitely needs the pet insurance. And not to mention the fact that the pet insurance I'm on is one of the only ones that does a dental coverage section, which most of them don't. And now whenever I get a dental cleaning done, now it's $1,000 to get a dental. For my dog, it is $1,000 for my dog to get her teeth cleaned. That should not be, I feel who can afford to have a pet? If it cost this much when I got Bandit and I was living by myself, I would not be able to afford to have her. I can't, even now it's pretty dicey, but I make do because I am obligated to her because she's my pet. I'm not going to compromise on her well-being to save money. But I feel pets should not be a rich person only thing. The fact that I know most people, if they ever had to do a single dental cleaning for their dog for $1,000, it would mess them up financially for forever. It would be really bad. Yeah, it's really bad. It goes up drastically with age of the pet. But when she was 9 when I started, she was already old. She was already considered a senior by the insurance policy when I got her. That, and I can also look up historically, people who have the same pets as me, the same age as mine, and according to Reddit or Facebook groups, what they were paying for their pet insurance when they had a 12 or 13-year-old Pomeranian in, say, 2017 or 2020. They were not paying $300 a month for their pet insurance, especially because she doesn't really have any pre-existing conditions. Yeah. That is insane. I pay $37 twice a month. Insurance is through for both of my cats. Yeah. I mean, I know that it's more expensive because she's older, but this, last year when she was 11, it was 90. It was 90 or 100 or 10 or something like that. And then now it doubled. It literally, maybe you don't understand. It went from $49 a month to $78 a month to 90-something a month. And now it's $228 a month. She didn't, and she hasn't even technically turned 13 yet. She's still 12. But yeah. My dog's expenses since 2020. One dog, $7,000 on surgery, $10,000 on surgery, $1,500 on dental, and $2,000 on various visits. Dexter was my sister's mom. Oh, okay. Oh, no, sorry, I thought those two were related, but they're not actually. I just got the profile icons look similar when they're really small. You would almost be better just straight off paying instead of insurance if no conditions. Yeah, that's what I'm toying with that in my head of like, is it better to have, I think it's better to have at least some coverage because now I can't increase the coverage. And I set it to be, I think the max they'll pay out per year is like 20,000, I think, which I don't know. It's hard to say, really. It's hard to say. It's definitely not just because of her age. I'm terrified at the idea of pet insurance. Well, it is important. I bought plaque off powder for my dog and cat to clean their teeth and it's worked well. When I tell you that I have tried every single thing that you can give a dog or do to a dog to prevent dental decay, I mean it. I have used plaque off powder. I have used all different seaweed supplements. I have changed her food. I give her different dental treats. Every day, she gets a dental supplement in her food and in her water, and she gets a dental treat every night. And the one in her water has been clinically proven to be better than toothbrushing for dogs. And whenever I groom her, I also wipe her teeth with like an antimicrobial dental wipe thing that's supposed to be really good for like removing like plaque-causing bacteria. I do all of that, and she still has problematic teeth because I got her when she was 8 or about to turn 8. And she just didn't seemingly have any dental care before that. And so she had really, really bad teeth when I got her. And it's been a cascade since then. Plus, also, toy breeds in general have pretty bad teeth. So it is what it is. But yes, I think in general for people that works for, it's great. But unfortunately, with some dogs, you can do literally everything. And it's just, it just is what it is. They've raised the prices of services and operations as well. Oh, that was the point that I'm getting to. Terrified of as an industry, yes. It just seems, it is very exploitative. So this is why like John Oliver needs to talk about this. Hopefully you all will allow me to continue to be on my soapbox here for a moment. Yeah, small dogs are very prone to bad teeth, yeah. What is the dental treatment you put in her water? I might use it on my dogs. It is called IOVet, I think. IOVet. Let me double check that's what it is. Yes, IOVet Oral, and it is a additive that you put in their water, and essentially what it is, it's a very small amount of molecular iodine. And I started to use this because I use a molecular iodine mouthwash for myself that I get from my dentist. And the same brand that makes my mouthwash makes the pet version, and it is very good for like human teeth to use a mouthwash, and I figured it would also be good for dogs. I had a partner that I started using this when I was still seeing them, and they like always had cavities. They always had cavities. It was a constant problem. Like every year they go to the doctor or go to the dentist, and they have another one, right? And then they started to use this. And correlation does not mean causation, right? Maybe they just don't have enough actual teeth left to have, anything to get a cavity in. I don't know. But they went from getting cavities really regularly to now they didn't get any at all. So I like it. Just if anyone's looking for a really good mouthwash, I like the IO brand, the IOVet or the IO Rinse. I think it's really good. I feel like it's the best. It's also, it's not very strong tasting. It's not the same flavor as like one of those really minty mouthwashes. But I will say, if you use it every day, it will stain your teeth a little bit. It will stain your teeth. I would get staining on like my bottom teeth here. And if I use a whitening toothpaste like really consistently, it helps with that. But it can be a little bit discoloring on teeth, like a little bit of a yellow, but it comes right off when you go to the dentist office. When you get your teeth scraped, it comes right off. It's not like a permanent stain or anything. You take better care of your dog's teeth than I take care of mine. But she's my baby and I love her. So of course I have to. Well, and also, hopefully I would like her to have teeth, honestly. That's my only goal. I would like her to have some teeth her entire life. If it's 2 teeth, I will feel like I succeeded. If it's 2 teeth, I will feel successful. I want her to get to enjoy life, not being toothless. That's all I want. How does the human one taste and work? So it's the same as a regular mouthwash. The molecular iodine is like very, very good at removing the bacteria in your mouth that causes tartar and plaque, which is how it works to prevent cavities. So it's I think now they put xylitol in it. It's not as far as I'm aware, it's not a remineralizing, I don't think anyways, mouthwash. It is there to kill the bacteria in your mouth. So if you need something that's remineralizing, I'd maybe like alternate. But it basically just nukes all the bacteria in your mouth and prevents tartar and plaque buildup through that. And you get it in a couple different flavors. There's a green apple flavor, which is like kind of weird and doesn't really taste at all like green apple. There's a soft mint one that I think is a lot better. And that's like, if you've ever had Japanese toothpaste, it's way more like that. It's not at all like the super like overpowering Crest, extra strong, double mint powered, whatever. Like it's a very neutral, I mean, not neutral, but it's a very soft flavor. It doesn't sting at all. It's not stingy like an alcohol mouthwash is. It doesn't sting your mouth, doesn't tingle. The flavor just is like maybe slightly unpleasant flavor wise, but it doesn't like burn your mouth or anything. All I want for Bandit is for 2 front teeth. Exactly. Yeah, I think it's really helpful. I would try it out if you want to. It's just IO. Here, I'll put it I can just link it. You can get it. I started getting it at Gentle Dental. I don't go there anymore because they're garbage, but they do stock this. And even if you're not going as a patient to a Gentle Dental, you can go in and like probably buy some of this. If you don't want it, you can get it on Amazon too, but I generally trust stuff that's like direct from a clinic as opposed to buying it on Amazon. But it's IO Tech. And they have a saline mouthwash or a nose spray. They have a saline nose spray. And they also have a hand cleanser. And they have a couple. The RTU is the one that you want. The ready to use. The IO rinse ready to use. My dentist told me not to use alcohol mouthwash because it can dry your mouth. I mean, I'm not a dentist, but this is what my dentist recommended to me. And I think it works really well. So there you go. I think you can also put in if you have a water pick. That's actually why I got a water pick and they recommended I mix this into like the water reservoir of the water pick. So that's, yeah, anyways. Anyways, if you want to read about it, you can read about it. Every dentist I know that has recommended it to me, like every dentist I've been to in the last like 4 or 5 years has like highly recommended it. So I don't know. I'm not anyone too fancy. So I know she loves licking her foot. I don't know. She loves her favorite combo of things to do is to lick her foot and then like scratch her ears. And I'm like, all right, strange girl, but do what you want. Yeah, it's a little spendy for sure. It's not the cheapest mouthwash on the market. Yeah. Alrighty. Anyways, we've talked about movies, we talked about mouthwash. I never know what journey I'm gonna go on when I start doing these live streams. They always go in such unexpected directions. Anyways. Okay. Me and a friend hosted a munch for the first time yesterday. Super hyped for next month's now. Ooh, glad to hear. I'm assuming it went well then. Congratulations. No, she's just snoozing. She's in the camera's in. She's just she's in snoozy patootie mode. I missed the last voyage of I thought it was diameter. Is it the last voyage of the diameter? Is that what it is? Was it any good if anyone saw it? I have not seen it. Okay, it was Demeter. Last Voyage of the Demeter is freaking fantastic. All right, people are recommending it. I'm really excited for that movie called Companion. I just saw the trailer. It looks totally up my alley. Yes, I'm also hyped for that one too. It does look lovely. My hair doesn't hold a curl to be damned. Well, Cat Rose, do I have a story for you? These are wet set curls, which is why they have lasted for a couple of hours on me. I cannot do a hot curl to save my life. All right. My hair doesn't hold it. Never has, never will, does not matter. The tool I use, the only thing that's a hot tool that I can kind of use on my hair and get away with it is a wave iron. But any other curling iron, curling wand, steam rollers, anything like that doesn't work on my hair. I have to do a cold wet set, which really isn't wet. It's like basically like 90% dry when I put it up. And I'm still figuring out the products that work the best for it and like the pattern I like for it. This is like my 5th time doing my hair this way. But wet set curls, if you're a 1A hair girly, if you're like me and you have no texture to your hair whatsoever, and you cannot hold a curl that's a hot curl to save your life, please try doing a wet set curl. It may make all the difference. What is a munch? A munch is a non-sexual social meetup at typically a place like a restaurant or a bar where kinky folk get together after work hours to hang out and talk with each other, basically. Oh yes, and a water pick is it's like a water flosser is also what they're called. And it basically is like, this probably is wrong. It's basically like a really teeny, soft pressure washer for your teeth that's meant to be used as a replacement for like a physical floss. I don't know if that is the best way that it works. I've not found water picks to be as effective for me as regular floss, but, you know, your mileage may vary in that one. A lot of people do like the water pick. I use mine occasionally, but I don't find it to work as well as regular floss. My hair doesn't stay curly long without a whole bottle of hairspray. Yeah, I don't even have any hairspray right now. This is just my hair. I just whatever I put in a mousse, and I'm trying a couple. I like the mousse I use. I think that's locked in. I'm trying a couple of other different products, but this is no heat, no hairspray. My hair is like very touchable texture wise. Like I like this kind of combination of products I'm using right now because my hair is very soft. And I feel like it looks better when like I zhuzh it a little bit. But yeah, it's very soft, very touchable. No, you don't have to have a helmet head to be able to achieve this beautiful look. It's still a work in progress. Okay, I'm working on the curl pattern part of the procedure. Yes, water flosser. Yeah, I think water pick is a brand name. I think PIK water pick. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have very fine hair too. Like I have, like, can you even see how big my hair strands are? Like not very. I have very thin, fine hair, and it's very straight. So this is the only way that I can make any sort of curl work whatsoever. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, a water flosser might be easier because all you just got to, depending on the model, you just got to be able to do this. Basically, you just got to be able to hold it, like just like you're holding. Basically, like if you can hold something like this, you can hold. This is lotion, by the way. Like you can just use a water pick. Honestly, it's pretty easy, and then press a button, and then not spray yourself in the eye with it. I washed my hair last night before bed and I'm woken up looking like a racer head since I woke up this morning happy to work from home. Yeah, honestly, one of the big advantages of working from home is you can afford to experiment with your look. Yes, the curl patterns, the domain of let's experiment, which can lead to awesome or oh god, this does not look like this does in this YouTuber. Oh my god, yes, exactly. That's where I'm at, especially because I have no layers and I have very long, straight hair. I have hair that's much longer than the typical curl pattern. I'm going for somewhere between like a Veronica Lake and a Betty Page. If I could get Betty Page hair with a wet set, I would die happy. But I don't think I'm gonna get a Betty Page. So I'm gonna try to aim somewhere between a Betty Page and a Veronica Lake. That's what I'm going for. The main thing, honestly, has mostly been the frizz, honestly, because you guys can like So you can see some of the frizz, which I think I've mostly worked out is I needed to use a different, I was using a more like 50s style hairbrush to brush out my curls. I think that literally just made it super frizzy and poofy, and it wasn't giving me quite the effect I wanted. So I'm switching over to like a curly girl like type brush. We're gonna see how that goes. There's that sock trick for the Betty Page hair. The sock trick. I don't know what that is. I'll have to look up. Betty Page sock trick. All right. Have a good night. See you later. Alrighty. More questions. Let's talk about my hairstyles. I'm here awaiting Snowmageddon Part 2. Part 1 was Monday. Oh, are you in isn't Texas or somewhere is getting snow that's very unusual? And I'm going to say it's Texas. I haven't heard too much about it on the news because my news feed has mostly been the fires in California, but I have heard a little bit about there being snow in some unusual spots. I can't mod tonight. I'm sick and I can't think straight. Also, I just went through a difficult breakup. I don't have the energy. Aw, I'm sorry, Hellhound. You definitely don't feel like you have to mod. Stick around if you want to. Hang out. And I'm sorry, that sucks. Breakups are hard. I have a question. I'm into bunny play, and I was wondering, do you know where I could find a carrot ball gag? Like a gag in the shape of a carrot. So, funny enough, you should ask. Let me see if I still have this bookmarked. I do. Okay. So this is a German company. It's called Self-Delf. I've recommended them a time or two before in my videos. They make very good, high-quality toys, and they make a lot of stuff in the shape of various, and might I add, very accurate silicone replications of asparagus, eggplants, cucumbers. They have carrots. They have all kinds of carrots. They have cacti. They have pine cones, and they have ball gags. Now, they only make ball-shaped ball gags, from what I understand. However, I'm pretty sure if you contact them and you say, I would love to have a round ball gag that has been painted to look like a carrot, they would be able to accommodate you. So you might not be able to have the shape of a carrot, but you would be able to have the color of a carrot and possibly some other toys that are also carrot related from this same store. And or they might be able, you might like with their, what other carrot toys do they have on here? They might actually have something that if you ask them nicely, they might be able to figure out how to put it onto a gag. I don't know how big, their carrot, you might be able to ask them about like a custom thing, like, hey, I love your carrot design. Can you help me put it on like a bit gag? Or help me, like, you might be able to brainstorm with them a way to do that. But I would reach out to them, and I don't know, they at least used to be open to more custom stuff. But, you know, I don't know, it's been a couple of years since I've reached out to them. I was looking at this for a friend who wanted some very, very specific vegetable related gear, and that's where I got it from. So listen, ask, and I might know the answer sometimes. And their ball gags also come in a variety of colors and different shapes and sizes, but that would be where I would look. Otherwise, from the top of my head, I don't know anywhere else you could get a carrot gag. I'm not sure. But hopefully that answered your question. Righty. Buy a dog toy shaped as a carrot and find a leather crafter to make a gag out of it. Oh yeah, also if you're in the local, I guess I'm sort of assuming that you don't know people in the local community who could do this. But yeah, if you know someone in the local community who has any level of leather working experience, you can also just buy a carrot dog toy and convert that into a bunny toy. And that might also have a squeaker in it, which might be fun. So that is definitely an option too. You might also just convert a dog toy. But if you want something that's like really solid, and also I feel like the painting on, well, the quality and the painting of what's on the silicone toys that Self Delve makes, I feel like it's very, very high. But yeah, just sort of depends on what you're looking for. Do you want something more cartoony? Do you want more realistic? Yeah, depends on what you're looking for. To be fair, didn't they change Robotnik to Eggman's name at some point? I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't know anything about Sonic lore. Don't ask me. I am also very excited for the new movies. I don't know what ASFR actually stands for. Oh, yes, alt sex, because it's alt.sex. Alt sex fetish robots. There's a reason why you normally don't say the full words there. I don't. I'm gonna humor this question. I normally wouldn't, but today I feel like it. Question: where are all the dominant women that want to dominate a taller guy? They're everywhere. They're among you right now, even. They're among you right now. Listen. I don't think dominant women have a preference for like shorter men. I don't know if they have a different preference for the height of their submissives at all. They're in areas near you. I will say this, and this is the reason I'm entertaining this question, is if you want to meet dominant women, go on FetLife, find a meetup, like a dominant women, submissive men's meetup. Like there's a brunch sometimes, there's different munches, there's different, maybe there's like a clothed female, nude male type event going on. See what's out there in your area, see if you can go to one, meet people that way. If you are looking for a lifestyle partner, be aware, there's normally a waiting list. There's normally way more people who want to be submissive to a woman than especially submissive men, because keep in mind, a lot of women that are dominant over other women or NB people and are not necessarily looking just to dominate cis het men, which I guess I'm assuming you are based on how you phrase that question, but maybe you're not. I don't know. But yeah, they're out there. You just got to meet them. And you can also, there's no shame in paying for adult services. If you want someone to dominate you as a tall man, a good pro dom will have no qualms about that whatsoever and will be very skilled in handling you regardless of your height or size. That is part of their repertoire. Yeah, lots of short women I've known love doming tall men. Like, I'm a client of mine. Literally, I was gonna say that. There was years ago at Kink Fest, I took a class that was about, what was it, like body handling for like smaller doms or something like that. It was a really good class, and it was taught by a smaller femme dom, like as in a female dominant. And they said that they love the mindfuck of dominating like taller, bigger men. I love dominating like kind of more traditional, like chatty alpha male types. They didn't say that, but that's how I'm saying it in my 2025, version of this. Those were not really words we used at that point in time. But she likes dominating that because of the mindfuck of like showing up and like looking submissive in like cute little revealing lingerie pieces and maybe even wearing a collar, and then just like beating the shit out of a guy who's like 6'3" and is like really buff. Which, like, gotta be honest, I get the appeal. I understand the desire there. It makes sense to me. But yeah, there's no restrictions. Just a matter of, fuck. God damn it. I don't know if people are just desperate. They don't have any common sense, or like bots are really convincing. If you meet a woman on a dating app, on social media, and she messages you first and says, I want you to be my slave. You are the lucky winner. Bow down to me. All you have to do is pay me $200. Here's a link to my Cash App. No. Incorrect. Do not do. Wrong. That is called a scam. That's called a scam. If somebody reaches out to you and is like, I'm going to be your dominant, all you have to do is pay me money, blah, 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 blah. Not going to work out for you. Sorry, that's a scam. Every dominant woman, one, wants to be treated like a human being. And probably wants to be wined and dined and have conversation and all the normal things that people like when they're meeting potential partners. They're not going to just be like, all right, I don't know anything about you. Money, please. If you get hit, if somebody treats you like you're in Parks and Rec and they're going, money, please. Like, very bad sign. Unless you were doing some Parks and Rec role play, if you ever hear that, if that is an image that conjures in your mind, do not do it. Yes. Scams are sadly common. Yeah. It's just, Why have I never thought of this? Pay me to abuse you rather just pay me. Oh no, I'm putting ideas in people's heads. No, really, I do, all jokes aside, I do think that, there's a reason why there's a lot of pro-doms, and there's a reason why the community has a wide gulf between the number of people who want to be submissive and people who want to be dominant. It is a thing, least of all because a lot of people don't really know what they want, and a lot of people say they want a dominant, but what they really want is somebody to act out a very specific role-play fantasy with them, and they actually really want to be the one to dictate and control all the parameters of what's happening, and they don't really care what the dominant person is getting out of it. That doesn't even really cross their mind. They're just like, I want this, and this, and make that happen, please. And that should be reward enough because dominating me should be a treat and I'm a delight and that should be its own reward. And that is deeply frustrating. Would it fucking kill you to just be like, what do you want to get out of this experience? What draws you to being a dominant? Huh? No questions? Okay. Yeah. I was at Walmart and watched this 4'0" wife chewing out her 6'7" husband, and it was so hard not to laugh. I mean, listen. It's a good time. What's the proportion to women to men in your audience? It varies depending on what videos I've recently put out, but it's about 50-50. It can be about 60-40 either way, again, depending on what I've published recently, but it's actually about 50-50. It's pretty mixed, which I'm very proud of. Most YouTubers have a very gender-divided audience, and I like that my content has a wide base of appeal. Oh yeah, a lot of historical films update the look for modern audiences. It goes with making you sympathize with the characters. Mm-hmm. Oh, I think Persuasion was the one I was thinking of that had like the shitty costume design, yeah. Are you going to review a crawling suit or gear? I did that already many years ago on my Patreon. That is already content that exists. Actual question. Any tips, suggestions, recommendations, etc. for getting into leather/latex tight suits? I know I shouldn't cheap out on them, but also not made of money. Thanks. Oh, not like literally. I think you're asking like, how do I physically get into one? Like, what kind of dressing aid should I wear for putting on a latex garment? I was like, oh, that's a very specific question. If it's leather, I don't really know what to tell you. But for getting into leather and latex for tight suits, that is difficult because if you want like a full body suit, they're going to be, especially for latex, it's going to be made to measure most of the time. It's going to be very hard to find something cheap off the rack. There's no problem. Believe you are the prize, but at least do the work so dominant leaves the encounter believing that as much as you do. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes. But on getting into that, there are a number of Facebook groups, or not Facebook groups, FetLife groups. There's probably Facebook groups too, but mostly FetLife. FetLife groups for reselling secondhand kink gear and latex. And especially some groups like for specifically latex. So if you know what size you need, or if you know what your measurements are, you might be able to post like an I'm searching for, or you might be able to look through the other listings and see maybe somebody has like, for example, I think maybe not starting, I think you can assemble the pieces of like what amounts to a full catsuit without actually having to buy a catsuit. So you can get like opera length gloves, you can get either some tights or some leggings. And then all you really need after that is like some kind of shirt, right? Or like a tank top or something, like a latex tank top. So you really could get like maybe 3 like separate pieces and have a similar effect for latex. Leather secondhand is a little bit more tricky just because it's not as popular, especially if you're talking about like garments versus maybe like a sleep sack or something. And sleep sacks, if they are secondhand, tend to go pretty quickly because they're very expensive and they are quite popular. But just keep an eye. You never know what somebody's like all the time. You'd be shocked. Somebody has to, the pupperini has emerged from her slumber. The same smile. Love the puppy. Love her so much. That's why I need to make sure she has teeth so she keeps smiling. But yeah, with leather it's a little bit more difficult, but you never know. People pro-doms move, pro-doms have to liquidate their storage. People sell private dungeons, people sell kinky Airbnbs, like, people get a job overseas and have to sell their personal equipment. Like, just keep your eye to the ground. What am I thinking of? Keep your nose to the ground, eye on the prize, some combination of that, I guess. Just for those things that are maybe a little bit more rare with latex, though, it's like fairly easy to get secondhand stuff that way. Mm-hmm. Hey, Aaron, what up? This is my standard Aaron greeting now. I'm like, hi, Lexi. And then I'm like, what up, Aaron? Code switch between Lexi and Aaron. Anyways, those are my recommendations for leather and latex if you want to build out a wardrobe. Plus, also, if you're trying pieces bit by bit, it makes it a lot easier if something doesn't work for you to, like, sell it individually, or, like, you didn't spend like $1,000 on the custom catsuit you can't return now. You spent like $50 on a pair of like used opera gloves, I recently bought long latex gloves on Amazon for $35-ish. I'll let you know how they are, but I'm expecting them to be a bit big and I'm looking forward to finding out. Yeah, ear to the ground. Yeah. I don't know. I've never bought. That's a good idea for a What's the Safe Word video. I should tell them. Buy latex on Amazon, I wish. I almost wonder if you're actually going to get latex. Like, will you actually get latex for that? I don't know. Maybe it'll probably be maybe not the best stuff. I know there are some Chinese manufacturers that are cheaper for latex clothing, like but I don't know. I don't know if they're actually like reputable or not. So I can't really recommend them out of hand. But yeah, I feel like there's always people trying to sell stuff secondhand, and that's probably the best way to do it. I appreciate you coming in with the smoking hot wife update. Just in case there were any questions about that. If there ever comes a day when that isn't something that Aaron says in the chat, I'll be like, somebody go check in on this man. Something is deeply wrong. I think he might be sick. I've seen plenty of the 1950s set stuff that I can point out immediately. Some things that stick out, like that dress needs a bullet bra to look right. What are you thinking? Yeah, like literally, when the darts are designed to like literally specifically accommodate a bullet bra shape, but because that doesn't look appealing to modern audiences, they don't do it. And it's like, you don't have to have like the most conical fucking bullet bra imaginable. Like there's a happy medium there. like these dresses are cut to accommodate certain foundation garments, including bra shapes. Like you can't just make that shit up, Temu latex opera gloves equal latex disposable gloves. Literally, it's just gonna be like it's gonna be like surgical gloves. Hopefully not, though. Oh, Honor latex. Yes, they are a little bit lower price. Mm-hmm. They're a little bit lower price. Although if you're in the U.S. and you're paying to get it from England to the United States, or even into Europe, I imagine there's going to be extra prices there. No, we love a wife guy. The only reason to dunk on a wife guy is if he like does something that like objectively is not wife guy behavior. Like when the guy from the Try Guys, right, who was like cheating up, down, left and right on his fucking wife with one of his coworkers. That was a problem. That's like, ooh, you made a fucking cookbook with this lady? You have a show with her and you're running around on her like some kind of floozy? We can call men floozies, right? Like, that just puts a bad taste in my mouth. Like, I think a lot of people who like have made being a wife guy their brand publicly for social media to get attention and to get, frankly, praise for being one of the rare men who truly appreciates their spouse, as though that should be an award. You know, this should be a behavior that we give out awards for. Yeah, they always end up being real pieces of shit, and that's why it has a bad rap. But yeah, if you're just gonna dunk on the concept in general, it's like, hey, that's fine. Let it be. Yeah, very messed up. Yeah, I feel like that was the first time I ever heard the term wife guy. That was that era. I think maybe we invented it for him. That might have been something we invented to refer to him. Oh yeah, when people wear vintage stuff and they don't have a fucking petticoat on, yeah, that's like top tier. When people wear Lolita and then don't have a petticoat on, I know the struggle, I get it, but like if you're gonna spend that much money on a dress, at least buy a petticoat, you know? Even if all you're doing is you're hiking up like a 1950s style reproduction petticoat and you're just safety pinning it to be short enough to wear into the Lolita, like at least do something with it, you know what I mean? Yeah, the social media clout is a red flag for wife guys. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's the same thing. It's like, there's a difference between like, I just happen to be a stay-at-home mom and I have backyard chickens and, you know, we homeschool our youngest and I'm content with my life living out in the country and it's fulfilling for me to like bake my own bread. There's a difference between that and like having a TM copyright branded trad wife influencer TikTok account. Huge difference there. Huge difference. I have never consumed Try Guy media and I have learned far too much about them. I also have never, as far as I know, we watched, was there, okay, I'm pretty sure there was a Try Guys like kink or like sex quiz thing that we watched. And I think besides that, especially once I love BuzzFeed, I'm sure in the BuzzFeed era, I probably watched, like I remember watching one where they tried like a period pain simulator, and I think a different one where they tried pole dancing classes, but I never subscribed to them. I never like watched their content. Just over the years, I've seen like 2 to 3 of their videos maybe, but I didn't even know any of their names. And now I know there's Eugene and there's Ned, and then Kevin, I feel like there's a Kevin, there's a K name, Keith maybe, there's a K name in there, and then I don't know who the other one is. They seem nice though, the other ones, they seem fine. Has anyone seen the new Army Hammer interview? I have not. There is a new Marilyn Manson documentary. I think it's actually coming out this coming weekend. Not maybe this weekend after next. It's coming out. I'm gonna have my fucking, okay. My New Year's resolution is to get all of my super fucking long video ideas, at least get them started and like pace them out. I am currently 7 pages, which by the way, my normal video length is 3 to 4. I am currently 7 pages into a comprehensive review of every major dating app with excruciating detail. And it'll probably be, I would bet, 9 pages by the time that I'm done. So it's probably going to be about 45 minutes to like 50 minutes long, all said and done, all told. And then I'm going to do a part 2 video where I explain, or at least attempt to explain, why dating apps suck so goddamn much. So I am working on those. They are actively in production. They are not just on the idea board. And then I'm also going to talk about when the Marilyn Manson documentary comes out, I'm going to talk about that and do kind of like documentary and then also court case update videos. And then I'm also going to be talking about Army Hammer because for some fucking reason that guy is trying to make a comeback happen. And it's like, my dude, my guy. you really can't do anything else for work, can you? You can only be a rich man in the Cayman Islands or be an actor in Hollywood, and you really can't do anything else. I guess he's starring in some, like, not technically copyright infringing, not Batman movie, which is concerning. Don't think we should be giving that role to him, but I guess he wasn't going to get a supervillain or superhero role. Should have a supervillain role. Wasn't going to get a superhero role any other way, right? So maybe that makes sense. Are you going to cover the app Kink, where I almost got scammed? I've never heard of that one before. There are a lot of scam dating apps out there, and I probably will in my second video, because I'll have just more space. I will talk about, like, the scam dating apps, because I have come across a couple, and one even tried to sponsor one of my videos and wanted me to do a review. And I said, okay, great, I'll review your app. Here's my fuck you payment for that. And they were like, sure, we'll pay you that much. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll review your scam app then. And I was very clear, and I was like, I'm not going to say anything that you make me say. Like, I'm going to give an honest review of using this app. You got to be okay with that. And then I used the app, and I reviewed it, and I filmed a very accurate review of the app. Lo and behold, they were very angry about it, and they threatened to sue me if I ever released the video. And I was basically like, listen, these are the contract terms. This is what you agreed to. I said specifically in the contract that I will not say anything specifically about the app, and that I will give a fair and honest review. But I never published it because I didn't want to make any problems. So instead, I will refer to them, because I've actually changed the name of their app twice since they tried to get me to review it on their behalf, and I actually got to keep the deposit they gave me, the first payment that they gave me before I reviewed it. So that was nice. But it is the world of influencers. Looking forward to either the Hammer or the Manson videos, since I'm pretty sure I found your channel through those. Interesting. I wonder how many people found me through those. But yeah, they definitely both need an update, because it's been a hot minute. Yeah. All I know is Keith could be Grant. College humor for the win. Yes. Oh, did I mix? I think I mixed up Keith and Grant. Yes. Oh, no, wait. Keith is the one from BuzzFeed. Oh, fuck. I feel like this is a whole premise of a YouTube video that they've actually made about how they look similar. But, like, they do. They do look similar. They're both lanky blonde dudes, I think. I think they're blonde. I don't remember. All the reviews I've seen about Baby Girl so far is that it's about a girl boss being debased. I mean, listen, let a girl boss be debased if she wants to, okay? Unless you mean debased in the sense of, like, she loses her career, in which case, less happy about that, but also maybe that should happen if you fraternize intimately with an intern. Maybe. I don't know. What BDSM shop or website do you recommend to buy from? For pony play gear? For any kind of gear? I don't know. I don't know where to buy pony play gear. I've never bought any before. I know someone that used to make pony play gear, but they retired, so I actually don't have a shop anymore, unfortunately. That was the only person I could think of. Apparently everyone, I didn't realize how many people show up to these streams just, like, slammered, which, like, I love that for you. Hopefully it's a healthy relationship to alcohol. But, I mean, look at my dog. She's so cute. Look at her yawning. Oh, I know this is, hopefully Emma will come back and she'll see that later, she'll rewatch the rest of this, because I'm going to answer her question now. I didn't see this earlier. How likely is your first DS relationship? Oh, apparently we're standing up. How likely is it that your first DS relationship is going to work out? The guy I'm talking to is worried that it being my first relationship, it's less likely to work out. You know, are there any differences in the success rate of a first versus a second versus a fifth DS relationship? I don't think so. I mean, we don't really have any evidence of that. I don't think that that's like, I mean, going from like maybe a vanilla example, aren't like second marriages more likely to end in divorce than first marriages? So actually, maybe the more experience you have, the worse off you are. I don't know. I mean, certainly, I think here in the chat we have people where like their first or second DS relationship is like, we got it, that's it, lock it in. This is it. Although I think in most of the times, if it works out, it's your first DS relationship. It's because it's like a longer term vanilla relationship that grows to include DS over time. Easier drunk as I am. I'm zero. I'm zero drunk. Apparently, we should have like a maybe when I watch Baby Girl, we'll make a girl boss cocktail or something while I watch Baby Girl on stream. That actually might be really fun. I'll make some girl boss cocktails. And then I don't even know what that would mean. I'm gonna have to look up. If I Google right now, girl boss cocktail recipes, what comes up, I wonder? Girl boss cocktail recipes. This is how my mind works, by the way. There is a recipe called the Boss Lady cocktail and the Pink Lady cocktail, and then a bunch of classy cocktails for a girls' night. I see grapefruit juice. Oh, ginger liqueur. I'm on board. Okay, tell me more. Boss Lady cocktail. What's going on here? What's this? All right. Oh, it's got cognac in it. Never mind. Cognac, ginger liqueur, which I'm down for that. Bitters, dry sparkling wine, grapefruit twist, lemon juice, grapefruit juice, and then honey syrup, which I would make with agave. Close enough. Oh, if I made it with agave, could I switch out the cognac for tequila? Would that work? That would be a totally different drink at that point. I feel like I could make Boss Lady in Cancun. The Boss Lady. I could make my own cocktail and call it the Boss Lady in Cancun. No, does it have? Wait, am I? Oh yeah, it has it under it. It's Cancun. That does not. Why does it have grapefruit juice in it? What was the other? Pink Lady? Oh, that's an egg white. Never mind. That's even worse. Egg white cocktail? No, thank you. What's the base of it, though? I'm curious. Gin. Okay, that's worse. Never mind. No gin, no egg white. No, thank you. This is why I don't drink anything. Every spirit makes me go, nope. So there's two options, apparently. Girl boss cocktails with the girls. Mm-hmm. Wisconsin is the only state with more drunks than people. I feel like I've heard like red letter media say something like that before. Oh, I don't know. From the top of my head, I don't know. I don't really like. I don't get like named drinks ever. If I get a drink somewhere, it's whatever like the house bartender it's whatever the house bartender makes that they put on a menu. Like I don't really drink any sort of regular beverages. I don't know if there's anything that's like themed that way. Do you exclude honey and bivalves? Yes, because I'm an ethical vegan. Yes. If I was plant-based, I would probably have honey and bivalves, but one, I don't like clams anyways. There's no mussels, no clams, no thank you. And also I don't really care about honey that much either, so it's no skin off my nose, but that is a common question. I would probably not make a drinking game, especially not having watched the movie before. I feel like that could get dangerous very quickly, and also I'm a complete lightweight, so if you want me to be able to operate the stream efficiently, I have to stay below completely drunk levels, you know what I mean? I gotta keep it to like 3 drinks and under total, which I feel like over the course of a movie I could pace out 1 or 2. Oh, before I was vegan, I had an egg white cocktail. It's not like grossed out because I think it would taste like egg. I just went, oh, no, can't do that because like I'm not gonna I'm not going to make an egg white cocktail as like a vegan. I actually didn't find it to be that, like, I didn't think it really added that much to the drink, to be honest. But I only had one, so maybe it was just the drink itself. I felt like it was like, I don't really like eggnog. I don't really like, I don't know. I'm just not into like creamy. Unless I'm putting peppermint vodka in a hot chocolate, I don't really go in for that kind of thing. I believe it's because bivalves lack a central nervous system. I believe that's the argument. Not sure. If you have a cocktail called for an egg white, you need to make it vegan. You can swap it for an aquafaba, the juice from candies. Yes. In general, that's true for most baked things as well. They have to be, depends on how much structure the egg white is lending, and like, the aquafaba is a little bit more delicate. I have no idea how that would taste on a cocktail, though. Sounds like, I don't know if that would work out. It doesn't taste terribly different. Oh, one more you know. I have never tried that before. Oh, not an immune system. Yeah, I got what you meant. Central nervous system. Yeah, I don't think the immune system is the important component there. Yes. Yeah. No, I got what you meant. I got what you meant. Do I not normally say to be honest? Do I normally say TBH? I feel like I say to be honest, like way more. All right. All right. More questions. More questions. Yes. Oh my god, I didn't even actually, I just got on to talking about boss girl cocktails. I actually didn't even think I fully answered the question about, is your first relationship, DS relationship, going to work out? I would keep in mind, and this might sound depressing, approximately 99% of all romantic relationships don't work out. Like for lifetime, long-term relationships, most of them are not going to work out. DS, vanilla, polyamorous, monogamous, gay, straight, whatever, doesn't fucking matter. Across the board, they just don't work out. That could be for a lot of reasons. Maybe you could say that human beings aren't meant to have lifetime relationships. I don't really agree with that, but some people will make that argument. So I don't really think there's actually that big of a difference. It's almost like asking, like, well, we shouldn't date because, like, I'm your first boyfriend, so if we date, like, we're probably not going to be together forever. Like, does that have to be how things go for it to be worthwhile? And, like, for some people, they're only looking for, like, lifetime relationships, and so if it's going to be anything less than that, it's not like they're not gonna be happy with that. So it definitely depends. Like, some people, they're only looking for people that they can have a lifetime relationship with. But at that point, really closely evaluated compatibility is going to be way more important than just like, how many other previous partners have you had before me that you've done DS with? That's going to be the big question mark, which is generally true for like the health of any relationship. So I don't really think there's going to be that big a difference between a first, a second, a fifth, a 10th DS relationship. The only maybe slight advantage you have to later DS relationships is that you have more self-knowledge and experience. So when you do get into a relationship, you're less likely to be in a relationship you're not compatible with to begin with, which means that you're more selective. So when you are in a relationship, they're just going to have a higher level of compatibility, which makes them last longer. It's not that there's any, like, it's not that you, like, not even that you, like, need practice being submissive or anything. It's just that, like, you may not fully know what you want yet. But I think if you only ever, like, I don't know, if you only ever want to date someone with the intention of it being, oh, well, if there's not a strong likelihood that this is going to be a forever and ever relationship, I don't even want to touch you. Like, you know, enjoy the journey. Like, a relationship can be really good and really fulfilling and not be meant to last for forever. It can be very fulfilling to have a relationship that goes in its natural course and you're only together for like a year or two or like 5 years. And that relationship doesn't have to end on bad terms. It can end on good terms, but especially, and from what you said later, I think you're like freshly 18. Like, when you're 18, you are figuring out a lot about your life still. You are literally going to be learning what it's like to be an adult and live independently, and what you want from relationships and dating and sex and from kink and all that stuff. So, like, from the age part of it, being in a different place in life, maybe not really necessarily knowing exactly what you want for your whole life, or just being in a place where, like, if you're dating anyone and you're between the ages of, like, I would say 18 and like 24, 25, there's a pretty good chance that even if it's not about kink, there's going to be something big in your life that changes that potentially makes it so you're not going to be long-term compatible with that person, especially if they're way older and they're kind of settled in what they want out of their life. Like, you might totally change your mind about kids, marriage, travel, where you want to live, if you want polyamory or monogamy, what kind of DS that you want, if you're a switch or not, how involved you want to be in the local community, all different things like that. So I would not get into a relationship at that age with the, like, promise being that this has to be something that will be more likely to work out for forever than not. And, like, it's okay to have worries about that. It's okay to, like, you know, we all have worries about we meet somebody really exciting and, like, we're like, oh my gosh, they seem really amazing and I'm really happy I met them. And, like, what if this doesn't work out? What if this crashes and burns like 2 months? You know, yeah, I get being sad about that. But that doesn't mean that should, like, control the relationship. Oh, thank you, Sean. Sean has gifted 5 memberships to viewers. Thank you so much. And by the way, if you want to potentially receive a gifted membership, you can go to your YouTube settings, depending on what app you're on or what browser you're on, what version of YouTube you're accessing at the given time. You can go to your settings, and if you want to receive gifted subs, you can turn those on as an option. And then if you're in the chat, you may receive a gifted sub. So yes, I would say it's maybe not any more likely than any other monogamous relationship, but don't get too hung up on it. Because if you're just thinking this isn't going to work, it's not going to work, they're not going to be with me forever, that's how you're not living in the moment, you're living in fear of the future. And if you live in fear of the future, you are not going to appreciate and enjoy the present and be in touch with what you really want right now, because you're only acting in service of what you think your future self will want. You can't do that because you don't know your future self. You can't predict, especially when you're quite young still, what you want from a long-term relationship yet, because you haven't had experience in one. So yes, it's okay to be worried about it. Don't let it control the relationship, and just try to focus on appreciating it for what it is, and, you know, have a fun time. Don't worry about it lasting for forever. Because the one thing that will make it not last for forever is if you are, like, strangling the relationship, trying to make sure that it absolutely will last for forever. And, like, it's too controlling, not fun. I feel like not dating because the relationship will end is similar to the economist who refuses to pick up a $100 bill because since the market is efficient, someone else must have already. Gotta love economists. They are full of jokes. They are full of the jokes, people. There's a pop-up to enable sub gift. Oh, good. I don't think I've seen one on a YouTube live stream before as, like, a viewer, but I am glad that that is a thing that's out there if it does exist. Honestly, Evie, you seem to have a lot of experience with either therapy or good self-help. Do you have any recommendations around that, finding a good therapist or what to read, etc.? Yes, I think you meant, like, around, like, how do I get away from doing that? Yes, so I have experience with both. I have experienced a lot of reading books, a lot of really good therapy. The type of therapy that I recommend for the most number of people that I think, at least for me, has been very helpful is DBT, which is dialectic behavioral therapy. And that is an offshoot of CBT. It's like the more advanced, better version of CBT. And you can look up, if you go to, like, Psychology Today, you can sort therapists in your area by, like, what modality they use. So if you want specifically to look for DBT, you can find people locally that way. But I would, like, for finding a therapist, I always recommend finding a therapist. Also, I think I said dialectic. It's dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT. But if you want to look up a therapist on Psychology Today, find them that way, see if they have DBT, and then when I've looked for therapists before, and then I don't really talk about this on my channel, so this is, like, about as much information as I feel comfortable sharing. When I've looked up therapists before, I went through, I treated it like looking for a job. I looked at, like, hiring someone for a position for me. I reached out to about 15 people. 12 of those turned into a consultation phone call to see if we were a good fit. And then 3 of those were like my top 3 of like, ooh, these are the people that I'm like the most interested in working with. And then figuring out schedule, price stuff, and then really thinking about, okay, what do they work with most commonly? What is their usual tools they offer in their sessions? What are their reviews like if maybe they have reviews somewhere online? And then that made my choice pretty easy once I got it down to like 1 of 2 therapists. And I emailed them for a bit, and it just seemed like it was a really good fit. So I basically treated it like an interview of like talking to them about like not really so much their educational background, but like their approach as a therapist, what a typical session with them is like, how much they charge, if they panel with insurance, which is increasingly uncommon. And that's how I found the person that fit best for me. But for books, it depends on what you're looking for. I'm pulling books, by the way. Where is it? This book is the closest to, this is written by a sex therapist. This book is the closest to sex therapy. It has a lot of tools from sex therapy in it. It's Hot and Unbothered by Yen and Talon Hicks. Really like this book. If you are looking for help with a relationship, and you especially are in a heterosexual relationship with a mask person that is not great with their feelings, I recommend, suddenly rain. I recommend How Can I Get Through to You by Terrence Real or Terry Real. He has several books that are all really good for men dealing with things like depression and emotions in general. I find this to be very helpful and very insightful. And then this one's a new one to me, and I haven't gotten to read it yet, but I'm familiar with the protocol it exists within. So this is a book for another thing called IFS, Internal Family Systems, and it's by Richard C. Schwartz. It's called You Are the One You've Been Waiting For, Bringing Courageous Love to Intimate Relationships. And this is about how to use the IFS for, there's even just opened up to a section that's like how to deal with like trauma and like how to like examples of like self-directed IFS therapy. I would not recommend doing IFS totally by yourself if you don't have any experience with it. But this might be a good book if you're curious if that could be a thing that works well for you. And then the last thing they recommend, that's like the most therapy-y thing I have. Yeah, this is it. And then the actual therapy book, DBT Skills and Training, Handouts and Worksheets. This is the DBT handbook. This is going to be most helpful if you have a therapist. This is designed to be used, especially in a group therapy setting, or at the very least with an individual psychologist or therapist or somebody. And I like it in general, but I can imagine this would be confusing to totally go through without anyone to help you with it. But if you have specific things that you want help with, like maybe you're struggling with sticking up for your boundaries, maybe you don't know how to live within your values, maybe you don't know what your values are, maybe you're having trouble with like emotional regulation. This is all good stuff, and I'm sure, I haven't looked for it, but I am sure that there are people on YouTube that talk about how to do self-directed DBT, or talk about how to find a good DBT therapist, what the green flags to look for. But yeah, that's basically it. I just read a lot of books. DBT is used for, no, it's not used for bipolar. It is used for borderline. Very different. It was originally developed for use with borderline personality disorder, BPD. I guess for some reason people use BPD for bipolar disorder, which I never remember hearing until like a couple years ago, but apparently some people use it that way. It is designed originally for borderline personality disorder, especially the earlier sections that are about like finding nuance in people, finding the gray, not looking at things in black and white. Like that is, and also some of the things at the back that are more about like coping with like addictive behavior patterns and things, that's very borderline focused. But DBT is really good protocol for things like anxiety, emotional regulation, and boundary setting as well, and having effective interpersonal relationships. And you do not have to have borderline to get stuff out of doing DBT. It's very helpful for a lot of people with that condition, but it is not just for that. There's also, and this is more out there and it would be a lot harder to find, although I think there's a downloadable version of the textbook that you can find online. There's an additional thing called RODBT, which is radically open, or like, yeah, I think it's radically open DBT, because DBT is considered to be a disorder of under control. Like you are lacking enough control in your life around your emotions, the way you interact with people, your impulses, things like that. So DBT is good for, generally speaking, more developed for people that have a lack of control over certain things. Radically open DBT is essentially using a similar skill set, but it's designed for people that have disorders of over control. So like eating disorders, OCD, that kind of thing. But I think, not being an expert by any means, I think DBT is really good for a lot of people. It's not specifically good for like trauma necessarily. Is the one, if you're looking for help with like sexual trauma or trauma in general, DBT has good skills you can use for like if you get triggered, coming out of a triggered state. It's good for that, but it's not really going to help you cope with the trauma itself. That's not really part of the tool set that's in DBT. DBT is much more about like building coping skills and things you can do to change your behavior patterns to make everyday life and relationships like way better, essentially, but not necessarily about trauma per se. Yes, it was. So the person who invented it, it's Marcia M. I think I've heard both Linehan and Linehan. I think it's Linehan. She developed DBT working with borderline clients, as I understand it. And I am not 100% sure on that, but I know that this is, this is, okay, look, it says cognitive behavioral treatment of borderline personality disorder, the authoritative presentation of DBT principles and procedures. So literally the professional version of this book is about like CBT, but for borderline, which is essentially what this is. Although I find this to be much better than standard, like, insurance covered CBT. But yes, that's my understanding of what it was originally developed for. I don't know, but like it's generally like the experience I have had of it is like a lot of the people who use this as a core part of their therapeutic practice obviously see borderline clients, but a lot of people, especially people that are doing it individually and not in a group setting, which is especially really important for the if you have borderline, doing the group setting can be a really important part of the process of learning how to use it. But for individual therapy, I've certainly seen a lot of therapists like use it as part of a more, what am I thinking of? Not esoteric, not ecclesiastical. What am I thinking of? My brain just is not working today. Like just sort of a hodgepodge. Like they're just using it as like a hodgepodge with a bunch of other modalities. What BDSM term is related to DBT? I've never heard anyone say DBT before in a kink context. My DBT group therapist pronounced it Linehan. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, it really depends on like the type of therapist you're seeing, especially people that it just depends on what their background is and their training is. Some therapists are, and this is like part of my selection criteria for when I've like looked for therapists or like helped other people try to find one, is some therapists are very like skills focused. Here we're gonna give you concrete things to work on. It's probably gonna be homework. We're gonna give you things to think about, and they're usually more based in things like CBT, DBT, other similar protocol. And other therapists are much more based in like narrative therapy or like long-term exposure therapy or even like EMDR. And they're much more, well, EMDR I think is like, there's more of a set protocol to it. I'm not a fan of EMDR. I think EMDR is a purple hat therapy, but like if it helps you, I'm glad that it helps you. It's just, I don't think it does anything. That's like special or unique because of the eye movement part of it. I think it's, anyways, you don't need to hear my EMDR fucking hot takes. Yeah, some therapists are much more like open-ended, like just come in the office, talk about what's on your mind for that day, and it's more of like a vent session. But if they're maybe helping you notice patterns in your thinking, but they're not really focused on like teaching you like specific skills per se. Well, I'm thinking is CBT, but somebody said that CBT and DBT are BDSM terms, and it's eclectic. Thank you. That's what I was thinking of. I kept thinking ecclesiastical. I was like, that's not it. Totally different. Yes, DBT. My therapist just kind of vibes, I guess. He seems traditional, but like progressive for traditional, very neuroscience based. Well, I mean, if there's like a scientific basis to it, that's better. But if you feel like you want like more skills, one thing that's very common for therapists is like they're not going to offer you like specific advice or help for what to do unless you ask them. So you might want to like go into a session next time and be like, hey, I'm interested in trying out maybe some protocol that has more like set skills that I could use. And they're probably going to ask you, well, what do you want skills for? What are you looking for? And then it could be, well, I need help with like this specific issue. I need help with emotional regulation when I get triggered. I need help with, sticking up for my boundaries more. I need help with having more effective communication with my intimate partners. And like, whatever it is, tell them what you want help with. And like, they maybe are the kind of therapist where like, oh yeah, we can totally do that. I have like this worksheet or this thing, or like, I know about this. And, but you don't know until you ask, right? And they're not necessarily going to like start randomly out of nowhere giving you skill stuff unless you want that. Because I've definitely had experiences before, and it very much used to be the case that like, it was like, lay back and talk about whatever's on your mind and just see how things go. And like, I think for a lot of people, that's very helpful. Just having the therapeutic relationship with a therapist where you feel like you have somebody who hears you, understands you, isn't judging you. That by itself could be really healing for a lot of people. But for something like, borderline, for example, you need something that's like more concrete than just like, I feel shitty because my boss made me upset today and I feel like I'm a failure at my job, blah, blah, blah. Like, just having somebody listen to that by itself does not always give people the help they want to get out of therapy. Yeah. I've never had anyone call it dick and ball torture, though. Yeah, this was the weird red flag I had with him. Keep in mind, I've been seeing him for over 10 years. He's a great guy, but I mentioned wanting more specific tools, and he specifically said DBT was hokey. That's crazy. DBT is like one of the most well-studied, well-backed fucking like things that there is. Like, that's a therapy protocol. And like, maybe I'm biased because I found it to be like very, very helpful, but that's very funny to me. I gotta be honest, if any therapist is seeing you for 10 years, that's kind of a red flag. Like, if I went to my therapist and was like, I'm gonna be seeing you for 10 years, she's gonna be like, you need to get, like, something's wrong. Like, you need to be, like, if I'm seeing somebody weekly for 10 years, like, I'd feel like she'd be that's like an ethical concern. Like, that's, no. Yeah, it would definitely have to be, like, at least. I would feel like if you're with any therapist consecutively, and there's one thing if you have like trauma or you find the therapeutic relationship itself helpful, but you don't maybe need you feel like maybe you don't need concrete skills. But I think if you're seeing somebody for like 10 years and it's not helping you, it sucks to break the therapeutic relationship. But if you want to try seeing someone else, and the reason why is because you feel like you've done the work that you can do with your current therapist, like, that's totally okay. Like, not all therapists are good at all things. Like, some of them are very focused into certain niches. Some of them only treat certain disorders. Like, you got to find the fit that works for you. And moreover, what worked for you 10 years ago is not necessarily going to be the thing that works for you right now. And that's okay. This is a Steven Universe song? It's your first exposure to it? That's crazy. Weekly for 10 years is also crazy expensive, yeah, especially if you don't have like good insurance. It's wild. Any advice as to how to approach people in at the kink event when I have no prior connections to the community. So it depends on the event that you're going to and what kind of event that it is. If it's like a munch or a play party or like what kind of munch it is, if there's some kind of shared activity. Generally speaking, my standard advice is to go early. If you can ahead of time, talk to the organizers and be like, hey, I'm coming to this event. I'm new. When should I show up? How many people are going to be there? What do people typically do? But most of the time, especially early on, it's going to be people milling around, maybe like a handful of people or so. And you just do what you do in any other social scenario, and you go up and introduce yourself and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, and then find something about the person to compliment. Do not compliment their hairstyle unless it clearly took a lot of effort, right? Or how they look, right? No looks, no like, wow, I love your red hair. Okay, keep that thought inside if you have it. Compliment them on something. They're like, oh, hey, I noticed you have like the t-shirt you're wearing. I love that designer. Or, I love I saw you had a pin for like some Marvel thing. I love that Marvel game. Like, and or wear something on yourself that people can identify and maybe start a conversation over a pin, sticker on a water bottle, something on a t-shirt, just something to start a conversation over. Or if you're fancy, just dress kind of fancy. Dress in a way that feels true to you. And, people will say, hey, I'm so-and-so. And then if people were talking, you can say, hey, what were we talking about? And then just like get into the conversation. And it kind of sucks. And I hate doing it. I'm an introvert. I don't want to be doing that. If I'm with a partner, I will cling to my partner during the conversation and be like, no, don't make me talk. Unless I find a way. I will also, and this maybe if you're a mask person, maybe it doesn't work as well. But as a femme person, like sometimes I'll just kind of like stand around the edge. If it's like real busy and it's not like, it's one thing if it's like 4 people and it's like, you're walking into like a clear space. If there's like a bunch of people all kind of mingling, I'll just hang out around the edges of a conversation for a minute and then like listen in, and then I'll like interject and then I'll say something. You'd be like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm so-and-so. And then I'll get into a conversation through that. But for the most part, I fucking hate having to go somewhere by myself and talk to people. It's the worst. So I try to avoid it unless there's a concrete thing I can be doing instead. I compliment people's piercings or tattoos, but that's because I have both and we can talk about when we got them. Yes, if you have a shared thing, like if you both have dyed hair or piercings or tattoos or something, like that makes it really easy to bond over, for sure. The Crappy Childhood Fairy on YouTube has been helpful for me with knowledge about mental health, with her knowledge about narcissistic abuse and PTSD treatment too. I am glad to get this helpful for you. The only interaction I've ever had with that account, the Crappy Childhood Fairy, is her saying some real judgmental shit about polyamory. Like, you settle for polyamorous men because you have trauma. No, I'm not settling for polyamorous men. No, I'm doing the opposite of settling. I'm settling so hard that I have multiple partners who all really like me, that all are into the weird niche shit that I'm into. I would not call that settling. What would have been settling is staying in the long-term monogamous relationship that I was in before I was in the kink community, and then getting married to a man, and then having his children at age like 22. That would have been settling. Yes, some people do settle for polyamory because they believe that they are not worthy and good enough of having a partner that is, and I hate this, fully devoted to them. Because for some reason you can't be devoted to a partner and then also be polyamorous, I guess. But, some people don't see it that way. Like, there are people who will intentionally choose painful, destructive relationships, whether it's pursuing married men or being polyamorous or dating people that are like 30 plus years their senior who like remind them of their father. Like, there's all different kinds of ways to have fucked up relationships to dating. And one way you can do that is through pursuing non-monogamy, where you go after people that are really avoidant, who have like 10 other partners besides you, who never have time for you, don't respond to your messages, who treat you like an object. You can find people that will do that for you in polyamory. That is not an implicit part of polyamory, nor is that the only way that people hurt themselves when they choose romantic relationships that are bad for them, in my humble opinion. But you know what? We just gotta blame the polyamory, I guess. And I imagine, especially if somebody, like, there's a whole, like, I have kind of complicated opinions about the people on YouTube that just, like, are therapists or just people who make, like, endless content about, like, specifically narcissistic abuse. Like, at some point I kind of raised my eyebrows at some of it a little bit. Like, it's something about it just doesn't seem altogether to me personally, but I know it is helpful for a lot of people. I have found some of it to have helpful advice in it personally, but I don't know, there's something about it being like, why is this like so... Are we just seeing specifically narcissistic abuse everywhere as opposed to just garden variety toxic relationships? I don't know. Maybe that's controversial. I'm not sure. Oh no! Just noticed on the stream that mild amounts of swearing is getting needling to be manually approved by Evie and isn't approving them. That's minor. Oh no! Oh no! I'm sorry. I didn't change any features that I'm aware of swearing being allowed or not in the chat. I have not changed anything on purpose. Oh my god! It's already after 8 o'clock. I just talked about polyamory, I guess, for like 10 minutes, and I'm sorry. Okay. I will say, let's have 5 more minutes. Where's my dog? Where is she gone? Where has my puppy gone? Where has she gone? I think she's over here. No? She disappeared. Where'd she go? She's not over here. I can't see her. Oh, she probably went to go lay down somewhere on like the cool wood floor or something. All right, let's do another like 5 minutes. Ask your question now or forever hold your peace. Until next week on Friday. Oh, actually not next week on Friday. Ooh, I'm going to be out of town next Friday. I actually won't be here. Well, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. 90% chance I will not be here next week. There's a small chance that I may stream for like an hour from my phone. Maybe. Just to test it, just to see if it works. But, so you know, don't be disappointed if I'm not live. You've been warned. I didn't catch the name of the film you recommended, even replaying you mentioning it. Could you give us the name again? Love and Leashes. Love and Leashes is the movie. Oh, there you are, puppy. Oh, she went in my room. Hi, sweet girl. Hi. You know, this hair stuff I have in my hair kind of smells like dog shampoo. It smells like you when you come back from the groomers. Yeah, glad you could catch it. Oh, thank you. Oh, Sean gifted 5 more memberships. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. And congrats to all the new members. Alrighty. I'm looking for questions, I promise. I'm looking. We're talking about historical accuracy in films. You can schedule messages on regular SMS using Google Messages. Oh, nice. Yeah, maybe sarcasm would work. I don't know. I don't know how I should tell my parents that I go out to a city that is over 60 miles from my home for Kink. I live alone, so I decided I don't tell them. Yeah, fair enough. They wouldn't get it. They'd be like, that sounds like a waste of time. Yeah, they wouldn't get it. One of the issues with the interwebs is the attraction to extremes. So much in my YouTube feed is on narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths. I sort of feel the same way when someone is accused of being a sociopath. I read it as being an othering tactic. Yeah, it's like, are we dealing with a sociopath or with somebody who never got diagnosed with autism and never got the support they needed to function in a neurotypical society? I do worry that some of the content that is being targeted towards, you know, dealing with a psychopath is actually just being misused on neurodivergent people who don't actually have any personality disorder that's malignant. They just are not neurotypical. I don't know how big of a problem that would be, but it gives me pause, I would say. It gives me pause. I know that many therapists have bias about BDSM, but an old saying goes, a broken clock is right twice a day. Yeah, I've heard that one before. I take the good and flush the bad. Sorry about her being BDSM and poly biased. Yeah, no, like, hey, listen, I can have opinions about stuff. You can have opinions about stuff. We can all have different opinions about stuff, and that's fine. You don't have to like the people I like. I don't have to like the people that you like. It's all about taking what you like and leaving what you don't. That's basically it. Does Netflix have any good BDSM films? Yes, it does. It has Love and Leashes. That's the one. Still, I think, maybe? That's pretty much it. Oh, it was your birthday a few days ago. Oh, well, it's pretty exciting this year for a few reasons. So I am excited on your behalf. Congratulations, Caitlin. Happy birthday. We don't normally get to do a lot of birthday shout-outs here on the stream, so I'm excited to do one. And congratulations. I don't know what me being in the chat room on the internet has to do with anything. What does that have to do with the price of fish? I don't know. She is off doing a crime. The crime of being adorable. All right, I am determined to answer one more question before I wrap up the stream here. I am determined. But right now we're talking about CBT. It's a part of the chat I'm in right now. And how cute my dog is. Scrolling. I lost where I was in the chat. Oh no, late again. I don't know about mushrooms being closer to animals than plants. That seems like anti-vegan propaganda. It also doesn't really matter, does it? Ooh, a good question. Any advice for when kink and kink culture / community starts to feel overwhelming and monotonous, suffering from some depression right now, and kink just feels like too much? Well, this is what I would say. I think that sounds like you're describing what people, maybe an overused term, but what people refer to burnout, even if maybe burnout is not the exact thing that's happening there. If it feels overwhelming, monotonous, it isn't bringing you joy anymore, you're suffering from depression, what I would say is I think it's good to want to cultivate maintaining a positive relationship with kink in the community, which means not forcing yourself to do it and also not using it as a cure-all for feeling better if you are going through a depressive episode. I would say it's important to not withdraw from your community if you have friends in the community, if you get support from them, but maybe not focusing on doing the kink, but maybe keeping the parts that are more restorative. That could be just like going to munches or staying in contact somehow with people that you meet in the community that you're friends with and that you get along with that you'd want to be around otherwise. But I don't think there's any shame in taking a break. I think it's, I don't know, it's hard because, like, with depression, if you're not getting pleasure out of something, obviously you're not really going to be incentivized to do it, and you shouldn't do things in kink that aren't bringing you joy, but also depression, like, if you withdraw from all activities, that can actually make your depression worse, but then you don't want to have negative associations with the activities you're doing through doing it when you're depressed. So yeah, it's a complicated one. But I would say, at the very least, if the community isn't feeling positive for you, if it's making your symptoms worse, if it's overwhelming you, if you feel like you can't regulate yourself because of the fact that you're investing this time in kink, I feel like it's totally valid to just like take a step back, maybe not go to play parties anymore, not go out to dungeons, focus on, again, maybe those more social aspects and staying connected, having that, like, not losing your support network, like maintaining that support network, but maybe not participating in kink at the same time, and refocus that energy on things that are restorative and restful, so that way you're not associating kink with this depressive episode and like forcing yourself to do stuff that doesn't feel right to you. And that could just mean taking like a 2-week break, a month-long break, evaluating how you feel then, And then maybe you feel even worse and you're like, I really miss getting to do kink and like I feel like it was my one outlet. Okay, great. Well, now you know that you should maybe do it again because clearly you were doing better when you were doing it. Or maybe you're like, oh, actually, I was really getting burned out on kink and I was pushing myself too hard and I wasn't having enough time for recovery. Now I feel better. Maybe just want to cut back versus what I was doing before. Maybe my relationships, maybe the scenes I'm doing are fulfilling me. And now that I've had some time away, I can more rationally evaluate, okay, this is the kind of relationships I'm looking for in kink. These are the kind of relationships I'm looking for in kink. These are the kinds of scenes I want to do. This is what works for me. And now I'm only going to focus on doing those and not just doing anything that I can all the time. Or maybe you step away and you're like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm not doing kink anymore. I'm just so exhausted. I can't imagine doing scenes like that. I really need time to rest. And I still feel like I need time to rest. And then just like staying rested until you feel better about it, basically. But yeah, I'm definitely not an expert on that, especially if you're dealing with depression, if you're dealing with like clinical depression, I would really talk to a therapist about that. I can't really help about that part of the equation, but just, it's about like, for me, I'm more giving advice from the side of like, if you want to see where your relationship with kink is really at, taking a step back is going to be the best way to be able to do that. Because when you're in it, it's going to be a lot harder to rationally evaluate like what you're doing, how often you're doing it, what kinds of things that you're doing. And when you have that time away, you can really reflect on like, oh, either I really miss this and I really want to be back ASAP, or I'm like, you know what, I can actually take it or leave it, or I need more time away because actually I didn't realize until I stepped away how much energy this was taking away from me. Bold of you to assume I have a support network. I mean, you were not the one who asked the question, as far as I know, unless somebody repeated the question. It was two different people. I'm assuming that if you are in the kink community, part of that is having people that you are friendly with, that you see regularly at events, that, you know, boost the social aspect of participating in kink that makes it worth it to go. But yeah, if you for some reason are in the kink community but haven't met anybody that you like being around and you have no support network even in the kink community, then like, okay, maybe you're not really leaving that much behind. Yeah. Having been in the scene since the 90s, I can say that naps and times off from humans are awesome. Yeah. Sometimes you just really need that time alone and R&R. And it could also just be as simple as like, maybe your aftercare hasn't been enough for you. Maybe you need more. Maybe you need to space out your scenes more. Maybe playing in public is too intense. Maybe you feel a lot of pressure to do certain types of scenes or perform a certain way. Could be a lot of stuff going on there for sure. But with that being said, it is 15 after. I will count that as a bonus to hopefully ask for forgiveness for not streaming potentially next week, or at least not for as long. And have a great weekend, y'all. There will be a video up this weekend. Stay safe, drink water, have fun, and I will talk to you all again very soon. Bye!